The day was quiet and gray when the boy was told they were going to visit a special place. He had asked his parents where they were going, but all they said was, "You'll understand when you see it." He had assumed it might be a surprise park or a family friend's house. But when the car pulled into the driveway and he looked up at the old brick building with a fading sign that read, "Sunset Gardens Senior Living," something in his chest sank without knowing why. They walked into the lobby. The air smelled faintly of medicine and mint. The walls were covered in framed pictures of flowers and old, smiling people. The boy walked beside his parents, looking around with wide eyes as he passed wheelchairs, walkers, and faces marked with time. Finally, they entered a warm little room where an old man sat in a chair by the window, feeding sunlight to a pot of flowers. His hair was white, his shoulders hunched, and he looked like a tree that had survived many storms. The boy's mother said softly, "This is your grandfather." The boy blinked. He hadn't seen this man in years. In his memories, his grandfather was stronger, louder, always laughing and lifting him high into the air. But now he seemed quieter, smaller, like a story slowly closing. His parents left the two alone, saying, "We'll give you time." The boy sat across from the old man. At first, there was only silence. Then the grandfather spoke. "You've grown taller than the last time I saw you." The boy smiled awkwardly. "You look different." The old man chuckled. "That's what age does. It changes your outside, but inside, I'm still the same old fool who used to sneak you candy and chase you around the garden." The boy nodded. He had questions. Why was his grandfather here? Why wasn't he living with them? Why had they stopped visiting? But he didn't ask. Not yet. The grandfather reached under his blanket and pulled out a small wooden box. "I want to show you something," he said. Inside the box were tiny paper notes, hundreds of them, folded carefully, some yellow with age, some newer. "These," he said, "are my days." The boy looked confused. "What do you mean?" "I started writing one line each day since the day I was brought here. Some days I write a memory, some days a regret, some days a hope." The boy picked one at random. It read, "Today no one visited, but the sun did." Another said, "I dreamed of my wife's laughter. I wish I had recorded it before it faded from memory." And another, "The nurse brought me tea. It reminded me of the mornings I used to share with my grandson." The boy felt his throat tighten. His hands trembled as he held the little notes that held so much emotion. He didn't know what to say. His grandfather spoke gently. "You know, growing old is not the hardest part. What's harder is being remembered by people who only think of you as someone they used to know. The world gets busy, families grow, children become adults, and people like me, we become chapters in books no one rereads." The boy lowered his head. "I'm sorry we stopped visiting," he whispered. The grandfather smiled kindly. "Life gets in the way. I understand, but here's something I want you to remember. Not for me, but for yourself." He leaned closer. "Never forget the people who made you who you are. The ones who held your hand when you couldn't walk. The ones who stayed awake when you were sick. The ones who went hungry so you could eat. They don't ask for much in return. Just time. A call, a visit, a moment." The boy wiped his eyes. The old man continued, "One day you'll be old too. And when you are, you'll learn that love isn't measured in gifts or money. It's measured in presence. And sometimes the greatest tragedy is not death, but being alive and feeling forgotten." As the sun set outside, the boy asked, "Grandpa, do you want to come live with us again?" The grandfather looked out the window. "I'd like that," he said softly. "But even if I can't, just knowing you'll come back, that's enough for now." The boy stood, went over to him, and wrapped his arms around his grandfather for the first time in years. And in that quiet, fading room full of silence and paper memories, something changed. A bond was repaired. A heart was heard. The lesson: we live in a world that moves fast, faster than ever before. But in our rush to build our lives, we often forget the ones who gave us ours. Old age homes are filled with stories that are fading, voices that once guided us, and hearts that still beat with hope. The elderly don't need your money. They need your time, your voice, your warmth. We must never be so busy chasing the future that we abandon the past that raised us, because one day, roles will reverse, and the question you will ask is not, "Did I succeed?" but "Did I love enough?"